Hello everybody, the Great Dino Ranger here again, back with another review. Today we got a special item we're going to be taking a look at today, and that is the Playmates Monarch Legacy of Monsters Ion Dragon. So this is a brand new release that I think is literally just released, because I saw an image of someone finding this in California, and I wasn't expecting it to come further inland this quickly. So my brother ended up finding this here at our local Target. I am super hyped to have this in my collection. I'm really excited to have the Ion Dragon as part of my Monsterverse collection. And obviously, as you can see, it is nighttime. Wanted to knock out this intro in before we do the full review in the daylight. Yeah, so here it is, the Ion Dragon, one of the new creatures from the Monarch show, which I'm actually currently in the middle of watching the first season. I mean, it's pretty good so far. I'm only watching it for the creatures, but I've seen the Ion Dragon show up once so far, and it's a really cool looking Titan. Very cool, definitely very unique looking in terms of design. But yeah, I think it's a really cool monster for the Monsterverse. So taking a look at the packaging here, it's your standard Playmates toys packaging with the really awesome Playmates artwork here at the top. You got the logo, the Monsterverse, and you got a lot of the Titans from the Monsterverse. You got Mothra, Kong, Godzilla, King Ghidorah, and the Ion Dragon, which I remember when I first got I think, what was it? I think it might have been the Frostvark when we got it, but I remember when I saw the packaging for that, I saw the Ion Dragon, I was like, yeah, we're definitely gonna be getting that. And here we are, in our hands, we have the Ion Dragon, and I'm really excited. Everything else is pretty typical for the packaging. It says Monarch Legacy of Monsters. This is what this monster is from. Then you got a really cool look of the creature, which looks really cool. I really do love its design. Fully posable and articulated Ion Dragon. Here on the side, you got another image of the Ion Dragon, and then here on the other side just says Monarch Legacy of Monsters. And then here on the back, you got a really cool render of the figure with the Ion Dragon looking menacing. You got the fully posable and articulated little title card right there, I guess. Monsterverse, Monarch Legacy Monsters. Then you got a really cool bio for the creature you're getting. I always love bios on figures. So the Ion Dragon's bio reads as, once responsible for the destruction of the USS Lawton, the Ion Dragon strikes without warning. Its fin-like wings and ion-charged power make this Titan one of the Monarch's most terrifying early discoveries. So a lot of cool stuff here. So I'm not sure if this really confirms that the Ion Dragon is the one that took down the USS Lawton. I could have sworn it was something different or something bigger. It very well could have been the Ion Dragon, considering it was around the ship in the show. But I guess who knows? Maybe it is. And it's fin-like wings. I mean, that's pretty accurate. The wings really do look like fins. It has a lot of fish characteristics on this monster, so I really do like that. I like the cool little design choices it has. And then you got a lot of stuff down here: Playmates toys, Toho, Legendary. And then you got the other creatures in this wave, which is actually just a lot of re-releases: Rodan, Scylla, Frostvark, and Skull Island Kong. Obviously I already have all of those except for this Kong. I'm mostly into new monsters at this point since we already have a Godzilla and Kong, but yeah, this is basically it for the packaging. Let's go ahead, head into daylight, and take a closer look at this awesome figure. Alrighty, so here we are in the daytime with the Ion Dragon out of the box and fully assembled, and I really like the way this figure looks. There are some things that are kind of strange about it, but we'll get into that further on. But there is some assembly required when it comes to this figure. Obviously, you have to put the tail on, and then you have to put the actual wings onto the arms themselves. There's like the wings have like two little peg holes that you stick into the arm, and they actually has a pretty tight fit, a bit more tight than it was with the Rodan figure in my opinion. But yeah, they fit pretty nicely. It feels pretty sturdy, so I really do like that. And I have it in the kind of like a landing pose, like a pterosaur, for the time being. But yeah, this figure is really nice. It pretty much captures the look of the Ion Dragon from Monarch fairly nicely. I wouldn't say it's 100% accurate. Obviously, we've gotten some things like this with other Monsterverse figures sometimes. Sometimes they're not entirely fully accurate, whether they're based off of concept art or they're just roughly based on the design. This Ion Dragon, you know, like I said, it captures the look of it from the show. Um, a little bit, but I wouldn't say it's, you know, the most accurate representation of the Ion Dragon in my opinion. But overall, it looks pretty nice. This is definitely one of those Playmates figures that the detail is a bit more on the smooth side, so it's not like super vibrant or sharp in detail like the New Empire Kong and the Scar King, obviously. This one's a bit more on the smooth side when it comes to the texturing and the detail, but at least it doesn't look bad, I would say. It's not terrible. At least there is some detail on here. It's just it's not as sharp as other figures are. So I don't know why sometimes it changes with these Playmate figures. But yet again, you know, these aren't Haya figures. These aren't NECA or anything like that. These are more affordable figures, which I do like. And plus, Playmates has given us a wide variety of different monsters from the Monsterverse. So I really do like that. But the main thing is that they are affordable, so that makes it easier for me to collect all of these, which I do like. So taking a look at the overall detail of the Ion Dragon, I know I said it's a bit more smoothed over, but there is some pretty good detail here, like especially here on the face. It roughly captures the look of the Ion Dragon a little bit. You got those two tiny little white eyes, which look really nice. You got the two like little hanging protrusions coming out of the little snout right here. You got the little nose or the nostrils right there, which look pretty good. Nice little like plate or armored looking bumps here at the top of the head. Nice creases and detail on the side of the face. The mouth is open. There is no articulated jaw, but the teeth look really nice as well. Nicely painted, pretty standard for these type of toys. You can see the little tongue right there, which looks really nice. The roof of the mouth is nice as well. You got the classic two horns that the Ion Dragon has, which look pretty good. And then here, moving down the neck, again, pretty smoothed over, but you got some little subtle details in the wrinkles in the skin right there. Here on the back, you got a really nice row of some like bumps here. You got like a big row, which could be the back of the spine, maybe protruding out of the back, going down, pretty much going down the rest of the tail, roughly. And you got two rows of like these really jagged, bumpy, you know, skin, bony texture here on the side of the back as well. I don't remember if the Ion Dragon had that. Again, we didn't really have a fully good look at it, especially on its back end, so kind of hard to tell, but the detail does look pretty good, pretty nice for what it is. Nice little bony, you know, ridges along the back there, and then pretty much it ends at the tail, excuse me. Then we move on to the other side of the body. Pretty nice amount of detail in terms of the line texturing, but again, very smooth over, but you know, it's got some detail there, which is nice. And then the underside of the tail is very smooth. There really isn't any detail at all. Maybe some little creases here and there, but nothing super major. The rest of the tail actually looks pretty nice too. You got more of the like little ridge outline here along the tail, which looks pretty cool. And the entire tail is like really spiky. Has like all these little spikes coming out of the tail, and it's got these two claws at the end of the tail, which actually, interestingly, the Ion Dragon in the movie had actually 3 claws at the end of the tail that can each move individually, so we can use that to pick up things while it's flying, which is a really cool trait. I think you even saw when the Ion Dragon fought Godzilla, which I've seen that clip many times on YouTube. I think at one point they used these claws to like grab Godzilla on the face, just to add like that extra support, the extra grip when fighting. So it's kind of unfortunate that Playmates did not add an additional claw, so we can have like the 3 claws. So I don't know why they just gave it just 2. I don't know exactly all the references Playmates was using when making this figure, but that is pretty interesting. Definitely something that's not entirely accurate, but still, at least they got the idea that there is claws at the end of the tail, and these little rows of spikes here at the tip of the tail look really nice, and you got a little row of them on each side of the tail as it goes up the body, which looks pretty nice as well. Moving on to the hind legs, very smoothed over, not a whole lot of detail going on here, sadly, but you got some texturing here and there, but not a whole lot. Nothing here on the knees, and you go down to the rest of the ankle and the foot. You got the 3 toes. clawed toes are on the ground. You got a little bit of a dew claw right there, which the detail on the feet look really nice as well. Pretty good in terms of detail. Nice, like the detail and the padding underneath the toes for both of them, which look pretty nice as well. Here's the other side of the foot. I guess you do got a little bit of some like wrinkly texture right there, which looks pretty nice. And then we move on to the arms. As we can see here on this arm, you got some detail right here, which kind of looks like fish scales a little bit, which is kind of interesting because the Ion Dragon does seem to have a lot of fish-like characteristics to it in its design. So that's really cool. It's got some like little fish-looking scales right there, which I wonder if this guy could even swim. We haven't seen that yet. But nice muscular arms, a lot of great muscle definition on the arms. Great detail on some of the ridges or the scales on the arms as well. It's not very sharp like other figures, but they are present, which is nice as well. And you go down the rest of the arm, you got some nice, muscle definition, like I said, bit more smoother texture. And then you got the 4-fingered hands right here. You get the little thumb and the 3 other digits up here. Nice detail for them as well, which look pretty nice. And the way they're positioned, it almost looks like it's supposed to be on a landing position, which is kind of interesting. So, but yeah, they do look good. And then moving on to the wings. Now the wings are very interesting on this figure. They are not accurate at all to the Ion Dragon that we see in the show. The wings were very bat-like, and at least they covered, the entire arm like a normal bat wing should. Except with Playmates, it's kind of like divided in like tiny little segments, which is very interesting, and I don't know why Playmates would go for this route instead of just giving it the full-on wings. I mean, sure, if you gave it the full-on wings, you wouldn't really have elbow joints, but I don't really think it's necessary. They could have just done it just like Rodan, where it's just the hinges at the shoulder that can move up and down. So I don't know why Playmates did that and just kind of, cut back on just giving it full-on developed wings instead of just little segments. Because I'm not even sure if this would even qualify you to fly with having your wings kind of be limited like this. So that is a very interesting thing that Playmates did. So that's not accurate at all, but very odd looking that they just went that route. And the wings themselves are kind of folded back, like it should be stuck in a landing position. So you can have the wings, the arms stretched out like this, and the wings should be like stretched this way, stretched out this way so you can have the full length of the wingspan. But no, the wings are kind of folded back a little bit. I guess you could, if you wanted to bend the arms, then maybe they kind of stick out a little bit more. So that looks a bit better. But again, very interesting. The wings themselves, the pieces that you attach to the arm, they look really nice. Nice amount of detail. Nice little rods sticking out of the wing themselves. You got the little extra finger running along right here, which I guess you could say this guy has 5 fingers, except one of the fingers is this part of the wing, and everything else is like these other rods, which again are very fish-like, very fin-like in appearance. So that's really cool. And they're made of kind of like a softer plastic material, kind of different than the rest of the figure, but that's just how they kind of feel to me. Then you got a different part of the wing sticking here on the back of the arm, just before the shoulder. And again, kind of weird, just a little flap just sticking out like that instead of just a fully developed wing. So very interesting that this is the case, but it is what it is. Same thing can go for the other side. Nice amount of rods shown throughout the wings, which can kind of give it a nice unique look, especially compared to the wings of other flying creatures in the Monsterverse like Ghidorah, Rodan, Mothra. I guess they are kind of similar to the Warbat, even though those ones are actually a bit more unique and different compared to the Ion Dragon's wings. Oh, you can see some nice amount of detail on the underside of the arm right here. Nice like little bony ridges right here, which look really cool. I really do like that. But yeah, in terms of detail, that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot. I mean, there's enough to say that it is a good figure, but definitely not as detailed as some other Playmates figures. So I still like it for what it is, even though it's not entirely accurate. It would have been much better if it was totally accurate, but for what it is, it does look really nice, and I'm glad to have this Titan in my Monsterverse collection. So speaking of colors, the colors actually changed a lot. When we first saw the image of the Ion Dragon during the, I think it was New York Toy Fair back in February, the colors were totally different. This color right here was more like a brighter blue. These wings were more of like a super bright reddish orange, which is super interesting that they went that route. But then Playmates releases the official figure, and the colors are way more accurate to the show, which I appreciate a lot. You got this really dark, almost like a dark grayish blue color for the entirety of the skin, which is basically covers the entire figure, which looks really nice. You got a nice black for the horns, so at least that makes them stand out. Would have been nice to kind of see this black color on some of these spikes here on the tail. That would have been really cool, or on the claws. You got the nice little bright white eye, which looks really good, stands out against the dark gray color. Then you got a bit more of like a purplish tone for the inside of the mouth, both for the tongue and the roof of the mouth, and a beige color for like the teeth. So at least there's that kind of detail, which I do appreciate. Now the wings are painted in the same purple color as the inside of the mouth, which is pretty interesting, but at least the colors are fairly accurate to what we saw in the show. They are kind of like this purplish, type of color. So I really do like that, and I like how all the different, the different wing parts are actually painted in this purple color, so at least it makes it stand out. Playmates could have very well painted this little flap right here this same gray color, but no, they gave it the purple color, which makes it separated very nicely and just looks a bit more complete when it does that. So I really do like that, and I just love how the wings kind of look like a bat too, so almost has like that bat-like appearance, which I guess it is a dragon of some sort. But yeah, I do like that. Just wanted to point that out there. But yeah, the colors are very basic, but they capture the look of the Ion Dragon very nicely, in my opinion. Now, moving on to articulation. There is no jaw articulation, but the head can swivel 360, which is interesting how it can just swivel instead of just going up and down or left and right or something like that. But it's nothing bad, but we got a nice little range of motion there. We're going to do the wings last because there's a lot of cool stuff with that. The legs here at the hips, they just move forward and backwards, and they're very stiff on mine, but it's like a good stiff where these are not going to get loosened up over time. At least that's how it feels to me. So they just move forward and backwards, and then you got a joint here at the ankle, or at least technically it's above the ankle, but this little part of the foot can swivel, so I guess it's good for stability. But kind of like the Mattel Jurassic World figures, I won't really be needing this swivel most of the time. And then the tail part where you attach it, the tail is at a kind of a curved angle, but it can move left and right, up and down, and rotate, so you can get some kind of cool little poses with the Ion Dragon with the tail, which is pretty nice. I do appreciate that. So you can have it kind of hit people if you really wanted to. But yeah, that's a really nice articulation for the tail, nice on like a little ball joint. Now for the wings, there's a lot of cool stuff going on here. I really like when Playmates adds articulation to some of their figures, especially when it has wings. So here at the shoulder, it can move up and down, very fluent on mine, as well as rotate forward and backwards. So you can get some really nice flapping poses if you really wanted to, which is really cool. See, that is really cool. I can definitely see myself like just having fun, just flapping this guy around as it's fighting other monsters. So that's really cool. And then here at the elbow joint, sorry if you hear that plane, I can just move forward and backwards. So you can have the wings kind of spread out a bit more if you bend it, which does look a bit better than it was before. So I really do like that. And the wings can also rotate, so that would really help for different poses, which I do appreciate. And then even the hands or the wrists have a rotation swivel as well, so that is pretty interesting. I really do like that. So you can get some really cool poses. You can have it in a landing pose if you really wanted to, like this, which looks really cool in my opinion. So yeah, that's basically it for the Ion Dragon. Let's go ahead quickly and take a look at some comparisons. Alrighty, so first up, we're going to compare the Ion Dragon with a standard Playmates Godzilla. Figured these would work perfect together since both of these monsters do fight in the show. And they're actually a pretty good size, I would say. Might be fairly accurate. I feel like the Ion Dragon was just a tad bit smaller than Godzilla though, so this might be a little bit too big. But for a Titan standard, it actually makes a lot of sense. So that's cool. You can have both of these monsters fight each other if you really wanted to. Because this is actually looks pretty cool. That this shot right here looks pretty sweet. But yeah, compared to Godzilla, they look really nice together. And last but not least, why not compare the Ion Dragon with my favorite monster in the Monsterverse, Rodan. And these two look really cool together. You got some of the two flying monsters in the Monsterverse here compared next to each other. Obviously, you cannot take down Rodan. Rodan is known as the king of the skies for a reason, so he would easily dispose of the Ion Dragon if he really wanted to. But these two look really great together. It's really nice to see a difference in flying monsters within the Monsterverse. So having these two figures in hand and in my collection compared with one another is actually really cool, and I really do appreciate it. So yeah, these two look really great next to each other. The Ion Dragon is actually just a bit more larger in terms of, you know, its overall body size, its tail length, and the size of its head. But I do think Rodan's got the bigger wingspan for sure. Or I mean, maybe, I guess it's only because these wings are folded back, so I guess Rodan kind of wins with that. But they do look really cool next to each other with their wings open. And yeah, I'm really happy to have both of these together compared with one another. Alrighty everyone, so that's about to wrap it up for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. For my final thoughts on this figure, I'm glad to have an Ion Dragon as part of my Monsterverse collection. It's an overall pretty good figure. I really do like it. I'm glad to have it, even though it's not 100% accurate to what we saw in the show itself. I am very happy to have it in hand, and overall it is a pretty decent figure. And if you're someone who wants to collect all the Monsterverse figures from Playmates, I do recommend picking up this Ion Dragon. You should be able to find it in stores now, because if I was able to find it that quickly, then it should be out in other places as well. So yeah, overall I really do enjoy this figure. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review, everyone. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again for the next video.